Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Loud and Proud Mamas. I'm your host Justine.
And I'm your host Laura.
And today you are in for a treat, listeners. My goodness, Laura, what is today's episode all about?
Today it'll be all about my birth story.
We are here. We are not at the end, because, after this we're going to start talking about what is called the fourth trimester, the recovery, the continued cooking of the children as they develop more. And then, of course, parenthood is never truly done. So don't worry, listeners, we got lots and lots of content for you. But I think that this does mark a little bit of a high point in our episodes.
Yes, for sure. It's what we've been working towards, right? You bared with us for each step of the trimesters, for the pregnancy, for all of that. So we're happy that you're here listening to this part too, because it's what we worked for.
Well, you're going to have to hold on a little bit more because, Laura, I have to share my sports story with you.
All right, go for it.
So it was my second year anniversary earlier this week.
Congratulations.
Thank you. It's a lot of fun. And so for this year, we decided that we were going to get tickets to the finals for the short track speed skating that was taking place in Montreal. So kind of like the Olympics, where it's like a bunch of different countries all competing for medals, gold, silver, bronze, but not the Olympics, just specifically that one sport. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we get there and Kevin's like, he's going through it. He's like explaining to me like the sport. He's explaining to me who we should be looking out for. He's explaining to me who we should be booing. All this.
So is he the one out of the two of you who's more into this sport?
Yeah, we're both very recent into this. Kevin got into it during the Olympics, and as he, was really enjoying it, the algorithm was like, hey, did you know you could get tickets to this relatively close to you? And the tickets were only $30 each. So,
wow. All right.
Yeah, so in terms of a live sport event, very affordable. So we take the bus there, very, very easy because we're just off Yo Station at the Maurice Richard Arena. So, don't drive, by the way, if you're going there. Just take the STM. It's amazing. We get there, we get our seats, and the audience is electric. The place is buzzing, and we learn that there is a hometown hero in the building. William Dandjinou.
Oh.
Yes, he is the captain of the relay race and he also runs solo races. And they do very well and he's getting through the quarterfinals. He gets through the semifinals and then it's the final. And so they're doing the 1,000, so basically 1 kilometer. So they're going, and it's between him and a Korean and they're side by side. And then across the finish line, everybody is screaming and cheering.
Wow, okay.
Yeah, oh my God, it's electric. And then they're showing the replay, the slow motion on the big screens. And we see that just by 1 centimeter, William Dandjinou, the hometown boy, the star of the Quebec Canadian team, passed. And he was the winner of that race. The crowd is going wild. People are standing, screaming, crying. William is skating laps around, cheering, putting his hand up. And then the referee comes on the ice.
Oh, no.
And she disqualifies him from blocking.
What?
Not even that he gets second place or anything like that. Disqualifies him. So he went from first to nothing.
So was he actually blocking?
All right. I'm not the referee, but I am now a diehard committed fan of William Dandjinou, whose existence I did not know prior to that afternoon. But from now on, we are a short track speed skating podcast, and we are all fans of William Dandjinou. And it is the opinion of this podcast that this ref was biased against him.
Okay, good to know.
It is the official opinion of Loud and Proud Mamas that William Dandjinou was robbed of the 1,000 meter short track speed skating and that he should have taken it home. Hashtag justice for William.
All right.
Yeah. I think the consensus is that when they showed it on the screens in slow motion, the way that they're doing is their arms are pumping, right? Because they're using the motion of their bodies to go as fast as they can on their ice. And what happens is in that motion, sometimes your arm crosses over into your opponent's field in their like little space, and that is grounds for disqualification. It wasn't just him that this got disqualified. Other people got to, but his was the most dramatic because, he was the Quebecer boy. This was in Montreal. He had won the gold. So anyway, so the ref comes. She disqualifies him. The crowd starts booing the shit out of her.
Oh my
God.
God.
The whole crowd is just like, boo, boo. And the announcer has to come back and is like, please don't boo the referee. She's just doing her job.
Oh my God.
It was very exciting. I don't go to a lot of live sports, but you know what? Maybe I'm going to go check them out more often. This was a very fun sport to attend. It was a great way to spend a second anniversary. We had a good one.
Wow, yeah. Sounds like a great date night.
It was. But speaking of great date nights, let's talk about your big date night.
All right, if we're going to call that the ultimate date night.
One might say ultimate date night.
Or spoiler alert, date night.
Oh my goodness. All right. Well, let's start at the beginning. Where do you want to start? How do you consider the start of the whole process?
Okay, comfy listeners, here we go, because it's going to be a wild ride. So, starting at my due date comes and I'm at 40 weeks, guys. I am done. I have been off work since like week 25 with a herniated disc. I am huge at this point. Like, I don't know if I should be sharing this with the world, but I put on like 90 pounds. Like, I couldn't move, and I was so ready for this baby to be out. Anywho, due date comes and goes, and there's nothing. And then we have an appointment with our doctor the next day at 10 a.m. So, at this point, we're going to see, maybe she's going to offer induction. Anywho, we're prepared to go. We have our bags packed just in case. They've been packed in the car since week like 35 because we were hopeful the baby would be a little early. Baby was not, but it's okay. Anywho, so I wake up at 5 in the morning on the day after my due date with very sharp pain. And I would go, ooh, okay. And my wife's still sleeping next to me. And I get up, I walk around a little bit, I look at my watch to see the time, and then about 4 minutes later, another sharp pain. I'm like, oh, okay. We're already at 4 minutes apart. I've heard like a minute long, 4 minutes apart. That's when you gotta head to the hospital. I'm like, oh, okay. But first labors can be long, so maybe I'm gonna be at this stage for a bit. But I was always told 4-1-1, 4 minutes apart, 1 minute long for at least an hour. And then that's the sign to go get checked in. But most people, their contractions start like every 10 minutes or so. And then it gets, 10 and then 7 and then 8, but in a pattern, but it slowly gets closer and closer together. So I was like, damn, okay, we're starting. This is happening. So I want my wife to sleep a little longer. I start myself a bath, nice warm bath. I get in the bath. I'm all excited. I'm like, it's going to happen. We're going to have our baby today. And I'm like, on my phone, having the bath. And then kind of the contractions are coming. They're not overly painful, but like, I definitely like have to stop and breathe. So for it to start that much again, I'm like, great. And then anywho, it's now been over an hour. I get out of the bath, I like stretch, I wait, I want my wife to sleep as long as possible. End up kind of puttering around the house, getting everything ready, stopping every 4 minutes because they're like, I'm using the contraction timer, and we're pretty on par here. So then a few hours pass. It's now like 7:30, and I go over and wake my wife up and say, we're having a baby today.
Hey, that's a nice way to wake up.
And she wakes up all excited saying, you're having contractions. And I'm like, yes, they're 4 minutes apart. They're a minute long. This is really good. Like, we're probably just going to go to the doctor's appointment and then have the baby. Because we were planning to still go to the appointment so my doctor can kind of check, see where things were at. I'm all pumped. We have some breakfast. I can't really eat much. I'm already kind of nauseous from the pain, but I'm like, that's okay. I'm trying to hydrate. And then we get ourselves ready, and we have about a 45-minute drive into the hospital where our doctor's appointment was. We decide to go a little bit earlier because we wanted to be close by in case things started picking up faster. Because again, first time parents, we had no idea what to expect. And my app was even telling me, go to the hospital. So we're like, okay. But we go to Walmart and walk around a little bit. And while I'm in Walmart, I get this phone call. And so a few months before, I had signed up for some info sessions of like online birthing classes or whatnot. One of them, they contact you if you want to make an education savings plan for your child. And I guess they had like the estimated due date on file or whatnot. I don't know. But anywho, I get the phone call, I answer it, and they're like, hi, yes, calling about your baby. Like, have you had the baby yet? And then I get a major contraction, and I'm like, having it now! Having the baby now! Please call back in a few days! And they say, okay. And then, like, hang up the phone, and there I am in Walmart, like, leaning over a, like, rack of clothes. My wife is, like, off puttering out somewhere, and I'm just, like, breathing through this contraction because it's, like, it's hitting me hard. And then I'm like, okay, got a little bit of a break, but my back was still really sore in between the breaks. So I had a break from the contraction, but I was still just like pretty sore in general. The fun side note, one of my best friends, her son has special eating restrictions and can only eat one type of granola bar. And they discontinued this granola bar. So we had been racing all over the city to find the remaining stocks. And I found 3 crates or like 3 big boxes of these granola bars. Yeah. And they were all like, I
Oh
guess, getting rid of
no.
them. So they were on a low price. But anywho, bought them all for her. But there were so many that like my wife and
Oh
I
my
both
god.
had our hands full of like a major box of granola bars. So there I am, having contractions, carrying like hundreds of granola bars. And like people are probably looking at me like, what the heck is happening right now? Like, your baby's not going to eat for like 6 months, right? So done at Walmart, we head over to our appointment. And at this point, again, I can't sit
Oh my
because I'm
goodness.
in too much discomfort for the contractions.
Yeah.
And I'm there like swaying in between in the waiting room, swaying during the contractions, leaning over counters, all this stuff. So when my doctor comes out, she's like, "Oh yeah, you're in labor. Come on in." So this is about 10 a.m. So it's already been like a solid 5 hours of this, and then my doctor checks me and she goes, "You're only 1 centimeter, but you're clearly having regular contractions. You've had a few since you've been here, so this is a really good sign. Go down to the case room. The case room is like the delivery room, and have them put you on the monitor just to make sure, everything's good. And then they're probably going to tell you
Okay.
to go walk around for a few hours and come back." And we're like, okay, sure. So we head over, we go down to the case room, and they put it on the monitor. They're like, yep, you're having
Okay.
contractions. Yep, they're a minute long, 4 minutes apart. And they ask if they had started, 10 minutes apart, 5 minutes apart. Nope, they started right at this, and they've been at this pattern.
Sorry, hold on. I just want to make sure. So you woke up roughly around 5 a.m.
Yeah.
and they were 4 minutes apart. And
Yes.
now it's more or less 10 a.m. You're still at 4 minutes apart.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. I just want to make sure I was understanding.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's been consistently at that. So they say, yeah, go walk around for 2-3 hours and come back. So we live about, again, 45 minutes with no traffic from the hospital. So we're like, do we go back home just to like come back? And so for anyone who's, been in labor before, laboring in the car is the worst place you can be. Like, literally the worst. You don't want to be in the car if you don't have to be in the car.
You can't walk around.
You can't walk around. You can't really, like, get in a different position. You're already kind of stuck in a certain angle. Yeah, it's just not fun. So we go to this big indoor mall near the hospital. And we're walking around. And I'm like stopping every few minutes and just breathing through it. And at some points now, they're coming even more frequent. So like there's some contractions that are 2 minutes apart, then they're going back to 4 minutes, then they're 3 minutes. And it's like not feeling right, and my back is killing me at this point. Two, I'm like, I need to go somewhere where people aren't going to stare at me. Because originally we went to the food court. My wife went to go get us some lunch. And as she's getting lunch, I'm literally there standing over a booth, like leaning, moaning, rocking. And like, you can see there's some clearly people, like moms that have been here that are just like looking at me with like, oh yeah. And then there's some really like scared men looking at me and like, what the heck are you doing here? Why are you here?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I tell my wife, I'm like, we need to go somewhere where people aren't going to look at me. So we head up to the upstairs of the mall where there's like the Sears, and it's like the end, it's a quiet corner. Like people don't really go there that much. And there's a few benches, and anywho, so I'm there, I'm doing my thing, and my wife buggers off to some store. And so then I'm all alone, like doing my like, oh, a big contraction comes and I'm like, again, rocking and moaning, and like you could tell people are coming and they're afraid. They're like, should we call 911? Like, what is happening? Is this woman gonna have her baby on the floor? I'm just like, I'm waving them off like, we're good, just do your shopping, it's all okay. Then my wife comes back and I'm like, okay, I think we need to get out of this mall. And at this point it's been about 2-3 hours, more to the 3-hour side. I guess we'll head back. They told us 3 hours. Like,
okay. What's the contraction situation after more or less 8 hours?
Still at 3-4 minutes apart, a minute long. Like, and I can no longer talk through them. I am like now like moaning and like rocking, and like I'm feeling it, and I have not been able to eat. So I kept trying and I wasn't able to. It was probably around this point actually that I started throwing up.
Okay.
So yeah. So at this point we go and we're like, listen, like the pain's getting bad. Like this is intense. So we go, they put me on the monitor again. They're like, yep, your contractions are still every 3 to 4 minutes for a minute long. They looked big and strong contractions on the monitor, but baby was doing good. Baby's heart rate was okay. And they checked me and I was 1 centimeter dilated.
Son of a bitch.
So they said, go back.
No.
Like,
no.
Yeah, like they say, like, walk around, like, have a bath, like.
Have a bath where? Go back home?
Maybe, but we tell them, we're like, we live 45 minutes away. That's like, and they're like, is there anywhere closer you could go? Like, do you have any family here? And luckily, in the West Island, like where the hospital is, my grandpa does live there. So we call him and we say, hey, we're in labor. Can we come labor in your spare room? And he's like, yeah, sure, come on over. So we stop at the dollar store to get one of those exercise balls so that I can sit on and like roll on and do the stuff, because we didn't bring that because we thought the hospital had them. So again, I'm in the dollar store moaning and groaning. People are looking at me with very sympathetic eyes. And then we get to my grandpa's house. My wife's trying to distract me with like funny shows, and I'm just like swatting the phone away and like just like, God, what is happening? Rolling on the ball, and she's trying to get me to eat and drink, and it's like not happening. I'm just throwing up. And then we wait another 3-4 hours. At this point, it's
more or less like 12 hours.
Yeah, so it's definitely like almost supper time now. So
oh my god, yeah. Okay.
So probably around like 7, we head back to the hospital. And anybody want to guess what they said at the hospital?
Oh my god, no, come on.
I was 1 centimeter dilated.
Come on.
I'm like, yeah, I'm not, I wish I was kidding. I'm not even kidding.
Okay, so it's been 12 hours.
Yeah. And they're like, we can't admit you unless you're 3 centimeters dilated. And I'm like, okay. So we decided we were going to drive a little bit further. We were going to drive to my mother-in-law's, who was further than my grandpa's, but closer than us. And she had a hot tub and a pool. So not a pool, nice. Sorry. She had a hot tub and a good bathtub. So we're like, okay. Because my grandpa just had a shower. So we're like, okay, let's go there. We had her go to our house too and pick up like my big exercise ball and a few other things. Nice. So we drive there. ride was brutal. I'm sitting on one of those,
Yeah.
like, dog pee-pee pads in case my water breaks.
Okay, well, thinking ahead, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
detailing a car can be expensive.
yep. And anywho, I'm just like breathing, crying, throwing up. It's like it's a journey. We get to my mother-in-law's, and right away I hop into the bath, and I'm there for like, I'm trying to breeze through it. And by this point, my family knows I'm in labor. They know it's been a while. And my sister and my nieces and nephews FaceTime me because my nephew really wanted, to see me because he was worried about me. And
Okay.
he's 8 at this point, and he's a
Okay.
very, very sweet, sensitive boy. So I'm trying so hard not to
Of
scream as
course.
I'm FaceTiming
Yeah.
him, and I'm like smiling. I'm
Yeah.
okay, don't worry, I'm okay. And like I'm in the bath too, so I'm like trying to just like keep my face up, and I'm like tell my sister, I'm like, I'm sorry, I gotta go.
Yeah.
So that lasted a few minutes, and anywho, I'm like trying to just breathe through it. I'm trying to just make it through.
Oh my God.
And then get out of the bath after about an hour or so, and I'm like, then go to the living room where my mother-in-law and my wife are like eating supper and like watching TV. And I like go on the ball, and I'm trying to eat something to keep it down. The only thing I could keep down was like lemon sorbet. So I was eating some of
Yeah.
that, and even that wasn't staying down. And we're probably about 10:30, 11 p.m. at this point. So we need to know what the plan is for the night. So we've been at my mother-in-law's for a few hours now, and we're like, all right, guess we better go to the hospital one more time, like before we see if my wife can get some sleep.
So this is visit number 3.
4.
4. Oh my God, it's visit number 4.
Visit number 4.
And I apologize. Your birth experience was very different from mine. Even if they couldn't admit you, there was no pain medication, any pain management that they would be able to offer you at this stage, like even without admitting you?
So we'll get there.
Oh my God, okay, we're going to get there.
But as of that point, they didn't offer me anything, no.
Okay.
But at this point, I'm getting exhausted. Like, it has been nonstop. And don't forget, I have a herniated disc. So, like, my back is just, like, killing me. And
oh my God.
They never went less than 4 minutes apart for a minute long. So, like, it was staying that consistent and that long. So we get to the case room, and at this point, all the nurses are looking at us with like, they have it in the charts that this is the 4th time I came, and they're like, we hope that you're 3 centimeters. We hope you are. And
okay.
So at this point, I'm like, they put me in the triage room, strap me up again, do the same thing. And another woman comes in and says that like her contractions started like 30 minutes ago. And then they check her, and I hear them, and she's 4 centimeters, and they admit her. And I'm so mad. I'm like, what the heck is happening? And then they come and they check me. Any guesses?
No, not one.
1 centimeter dilated.
Oh my God.
1 freaking centimeter.
Oh my God.
And
you're almost at 20 hours of this.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So it's like midnight at this point.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm crying. I'm like,
of course.
This is rough. So this is when they offer me a shot of morphine.
Okay.
And they said, this might be able to help a little, might help you get some sleep. Do this and come back in the morning. So at this point, I call my mom, and she says, because she wanted to be close by around the birth. So she got a ride to my grandpa's house. So she's going to be staying there overnight. So she suggested, why don't you sleep here also? There's another spare room. You guys sleep here, and then, you'll be close in case anything happens during the night, or like, and that gave us some peace of mind just in case. Because again, we thought it was going to go a lot faster. Like, it had already been almost 20 hours,
Jesus
and
Christ,
I had like, it is possible to go from 1 to 10 real fast, especially if your contractions have been this consistent. So we just kept waiting for that, like magic, like swoosh. We do this. We go to my grandpa's house. My wife is able to get some sleep. I unfortunately cannot get any sleep.
I wonder why.
It did help the pain a little bit, but I think it slowed it down a bit. I went to maybe 5 minutes apart. So
Okay.
like
Yeah.
I was able to, like close my eyes in between the 5 minutes, but then I had to get up and rock through them again and breathe through each one. So it was still pretty intense. And at this point again, I'm
Mm.
still throwing up constantly. Haven't eaten anything
Oh my
but
God.
popsicles and
Okay.
lemon sorbet that I've like thrown up. So
Okay.
starting to get
Okay.
like weak and dehydrated.
Yeah.
But, it is what it is. I'm still like kind of pacing in the room at 5 a.m. and my mom hears me at 5 a.m. So at this point, 5 a.m., we're 24 hours in.
Oh
It's
my
been a
God.
whole
Okay.
day.
Yep.
So my mom hears me and she comes to get me and says, let's go for a walk outside. It's a nice day. So we do that. We're walking.
Approximately what season is this?
This is end of spring, early summer. Like it was warm.
Okay, that is nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So we were walking. I come back in. My uncle who lives close by comes over and says, hey, how you doing? I'm like, been better. Want this baby out? At this point, I'm getting a little impatient too. I'm like, come on. Like, how much longer? Anywho, by 9:30, my wife wakes up and we're still at kind of the same progress. We call the hospital and we say like, okay, it has been like almost 30 hours now. I have not eaten. I can't hold anything down. I'm dehydrated. And they say, come to the hospital. Also, just a side note, all the nurses in the hospital know my wife very well because her father was an OBGYN on that unit and her mother was a labor and delivery nurse on that unit. So she kind of grew up on that unit.
Is this a pro or a con?
I think the intentions of it is a pro because everyone likes them. They're super nice. They're super welcoming. But as I saw maybe later on, I didn't know if maybe some of the nurses were like, didn't want to step on toes because my mother-in-law was in the room sometimes or because my wife was also a nurse or whatnot. Because hearing your birth story and all of the stuff they did, all the position, the work they made you do, I got none of that. They were amazing. They were so kind. They were so nice. We felt so welcoming. Like it was a very good team and they felt very competent. Anywho, all to say, we walk onto the unit and we walk in and all the nurses are standing there and they go, we're admitting you. And they're like clapping. They're like, before even checking me, they're just like, come in.
Yeah.
They bring me to a room and we're just like, oh my God, we're in a room. Then they check me and I am 2 centimeters dilated.
You worked hard for that extra centimeter. You worked hard.
So hard for that centimeter. So right away they come in and they say, we highly recommend you get the epidural now. They say, you're exhausted. You need to sleep. You need to like hopefully eat something. You need fluids. Like it has been 30 hours. We recommend you do it. And at this point, like, again, it's my first labor. I don't know things. I don't know. And we trust the medical system. And I probably really did need that rest. So I get the epidural. It goes well. The anesthesiologist was like, you're a champ. Like, you just, like, bent over and, like, took this needle. Because most people, like, are scared or whatnot. I'm like, yeah, I've had spine needles before.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I had a lot of tests done when I was a kid for my migraines, and they like do lumbar punctures and whatnot.
Oh, okay. Yeah. A story for another time.
Yeah. Anywho, I get the epidural, and it takes, I would say, about 75% of the pain. So it is definitely better, but it didn't help the back pain precisely.
Oh. Okay.
Like, it helped the contractions, but then because I couldn't move, like, I couldn't get comfy, and so I was still having, like, constant, like, discomfort in my back. So it made it really hard to sleep. It made it really hard to, like, rest. So I couldn't really sleep. I think I dozed for maybe 5 minutes.
Oh, shit.
But I was able to, we Ubered Eats a little bit of food. I was able to get some soup down, and, like, things were looking up. Because I really wanted to sleep, so something that helps me sleep, which people might judge me for, but every time we put on a certain crime podcast, I like listen to the murder stories and I fall asleep.
Amazing.
So we had a speaker and we just put on these murder podcasts, and then the nurses would come in and be like, oh, this is how you relax? We're like, yeah.
Do you want to give them a shout out? I'm happy to link them in our show notes.
It's Crime Junkie Podcast. We really like them. Yeah, and I find her voice very, like, soothing, despite
Yes.
it being a crime podcast. Anywho, so yeah, middle of labor, listen to some murder stories, all good. Doze off for a little. They come and they check me, and I'm 4 centimeters.
That's good.
We're moving,
That's
we're
good.
rocking,
You're
it's
good.
going good.
Approximately what time of day is this?
Maybe right after lunch.
Okay, so we're about 30 hours.
Okay, so like maybe 1 p.m. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little after lunch, 4 centimeters. It's going good. Talking to my wife. My mom came for a little visit. Her mom was planning on coming later. 2 more hours passed. They checked me again, and I'm at 6 centimeters. And we're like,
It's rolling.
It's rolling. We're like, it's like a centimeter an hour at this point, and that's what they recommend. That's what's supposed to be happening. That's good. And then the epidural stops working.
Oh, how come?
My assumption is the baby is descending in the canal, and I'm pretty sure she got like lodged on my like herniated disc or something. Something in the movement was affecting the herniated disc because it was on that side that the epidural stopped working. And they did like the ice bag test to see if, like, because it should block the feeling of cold, and it wasn't blocking it at all. And then I just had the most intense, like sharp, searing pain in my back, and it was like no breaks, nonstop. And it was so intense that they called the anesthesiologist to redo the epidural. And so they took it out and they redid it, and it wasn't going past that disc. So there was something like wrong.
Christ.
And it was just the most intense pain, like compared to the contraction pain, like there was something happening with my back. And I couldn't sit through it. So they were trying different positions. They were trying to help me, but it wasn't easing the pain. It had been now about 2 hours since the last check, and they checked me, and I started swelling. So my cervix started to swell. Again, I think because the baby was malpositioned.
For both myself and the listeners who don't know, what does it mean when your cervix starts swelling? Is this a good or bad?
It is bad.
Okay.
So the cervix needs to open so the baby can come out. Mm-hmm. But as you know, when things swell, they expand. Mm-hmm. We were reverting. So instead of 6 centimeters, I was now back down to 4.
Okay.
It was because of the swelling. Basically, like, baby wasn't going to come out of there at this point, but they're like, we got to change positions. Let's try a few things. Let's see what we can do. Okay. At this point, I'm starting to I have a feeling of where we're heading, you know? Okay. When I heard that I was swelling, I was like, okay, this isn't good. So I had a lot of tears. I was crying. I it was rough.
And do you want to talk about why you didn't want the C-section, just to kind of put it into context?
I had always imagined a vaginal birth. There's a lot of benefits to the baby with a vaginal birth. It's not a major surgery. There's a lot of, there's a lot of risks that come with C-sections, and it's, again, very helpful for babies to go through the vaginal canal for the microbiome of passing through there. There's studies that show that it affects their gut health years and years later. For their lungs, like the compression of going through the canal helps get all the fluid out of their lungs. For a healthy mom and healthy baby, there's a lot of benefits. I understand that, that doesn't always happen, and we have amazing science and medicine that can help us and save lives. Like, had this been medieval times, I don't want to think about that.
But for you, it was emotional.
Yeah, it was a loss of something too. I thought this was going to be, like, we had always said we just wanted one child, and I thought this was going to, this was my one opportunity to have this experience. And I love birth stories. I grew up watching so many birth stories. I watched so many, I really wanted this experience. Yeah. And I wanted that baby being plopped on your chest right after, and like the right away breastfeeding and that connection. There was so much I wanted. So it was really a grieving thing for me even before it happened. It really was like, I'm about to lose something really important. And at this point, I talked to my wife about, like, okay, if this does have to happen, if it does have to be a C-section, it's really important for me, because again, our moms were there. I said, it's really important for me that only you hold the baby, that the baby doesn't get passed around without me being there. You know, I didn't like, I wanted, if I couldn't be the first person to hold my baby, I at least wanted to be the second. I didn't want to be rolled in and then see, you know,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe
Legit.
it sounds petty, but it was really important to me. And so, you know, she agreed. She's like, okay, I
Okay.
understand. So we're just about at 40 hours here since it all began. And they consult the OB who comes in and checks me, and I'm even more swollen. And they say, like, they say that it's not possible for the baby to come out this way.
Yeah.
Like, you're exhausted. You're not going to be able to push this baby out. Like,
Okay.
so it wasn't a
Yeah.
emergency in the sense that the baby was in danger, but with the amount of pain I was in, because at this point too, I was just like, the epidural wasn't working and I had that searing pain in my herniated disc, and I was just like screaming pretty much. So it felt like an emergency because like it was the worst pain that I've ever experienced, and there was no good that was going to come out of that pain. You know, like it wasn't like a contraction pain where you know it's making the baby go further down. Oh, sorry, side note, throughout all of this, they also gave me Pitocin and artificially broke my water. So those are two things that can also like really intensify labor and the pain and the contractions. So those things were all playing into. And again, in hindsight, rupturing the membrane, so breaking the water artificially, it can also potentially make it harder for the baby to get in the right position. So I'm wondering if all of that plus me not moving in the bed all contributed, but I mean, hindsight's 2020. Anywho, at this point we're headed into the C-section. You know, our moms are there to see us off, and it's about 9 p.m. and you know, my wife gets the scrubs, and I'm really scared at this point too, because I was always told that the epidural is what you have during a C-section, but my epidural wasn't working. And I was like, but it's not working. So am I going to feel this? So they took it out and they gave me a spinal, which is higher up and it's more intense from my understanding. So I had absolutely no feeling. Like I couldn't even feel pressure, which honestly I'm grateful for, because I've heard some people saying that they feel that people are working in there, and I couldn't tell. I felt nothing. And they gave me the heavy drugs. Like I was I was out of it. I was like floating.
So this is the first time you've been without pain in, should we say now 48 hours?
40. It's like 40 hours, yeah.
40 hours. This is the first time you're not in pain.
But the anesthesia is making me throw up.
Oh, good.
Fun, eh? Yeah, good. And good. I'm strapped to the table with my arms strapped, so it's just this beautiful image of like, sorry listeners, but of like vomit like spilling out of my mouth. It was terrible.
Okay.
Anywho, and then at one point there, I like feel like I can't breathe, and it was the most terrifying feeling, like just the most terrifying feeling. And I try to say to my wife, it's hard to breathe. And then I just hear her go, she says it's hard to breathe. She says it's hard to breathe. And they're just like, her vitals are fine. But nobody explained to me that that can be just the pressure of the anesthesia. Like it can feel like weight on your chest. And so I'm just like, okay, well, I might die here. Like,
oh my God. Okay.
A little scary.
Okay. A little. Okay.
But then I hear the most beautiful crying sound. And then I hear someone say, it's a girl, because we didn't know if it was a girl or a boy. And then I hear someone say, big baby.
They love to say that.
Yeah. And then someone else said, that's a good looking baby. And then I'm just like waiting to see her, and they wrap her up and they put her next to my face. And she's just so beautiful, like the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my whole life. And it was really important for me to have a name to hold on to, because I knew she was going to have to leave with my wife, and I knew I was going to be stitched up and then gone to recovery alone. And so I just needed to hold on to it. So I asked my wife, do you have any ideas of a name? And she was like, what do you think? And we had like this crazy long list. Yes. But I could only remember 2. So I said, what about this one or this one? And she's like, yeah, I like those. And then I said, okay, we'll do this one for the first name and this one for the middle name.
All right.
And she was like, okay, yeah, she kind of blushed me off. And I found out later she didn't know that we were like set on that. Like,
Oh, okay.
but we were set on that.
That was the baby's name.
So she goes off and does skin to skin with my wife in the postpartum room. And I'm in recovery. And for the first time in 40 hours, I sleep for an hour.
Oh my
And
God.
then I wake up to one of the nurses with a phone in my face. And it's a video call. And it's my sister-in-law who's at a wedding drunk. She's saying, you had your baby. I'm friends with the recovery nurse or the nurse in the recovery room. And I told him to call me.
What is this? This has to be a violation of patient confidentiality.
I don't know. Like I said, she works in the hospital too. Like, it's like a family thing. I don't know.
What? No.
But it was really funny.
Okay.
It was funny. It made me smile.
Okay.
And I was like, it's a girl. Her name is blah, blah, blah. And then she was like, it's a girl. And we're like, I'm crying. She's like, how are you? Because she also had a C-section, so she understood. And I'm like, it was hard. And she's like, yeah. And anyhow, it was a fun call. I'm like totally loopy. But whatever. I doze off again for a bit. I wake up again in panic, being like, how long has it been? The baby needs to eat.
Yeah, of course.
And then I see the nurse and I'm like, can we go to the baby? And he's like, yeah, let's go see your baby. And he rolls me into the room and there she is on my wife. Our moms are sitting there in the corner watching her on my wife. And then they bring her over to me and she has her first breastfeeding and she just latches on so well. And yeah, she is just absolutely incredible.
She is.
Yeah. Yeah, she's pretty great.
She is. I've had the pleasure of meeting her and she's incredible.
Dang.
10 out of 10 kid.
I feel the same about yours. But yeah, like seriously, like it was definitely a rocky road, but like holding her was just, So, oh yeah. So you didn't have this machine, but after the C-section in the bed, I had these giant sausage tubes on my legs that like it was a machine that was like an air, like it would basically like dilate and then undilate. Like they'd fill up with air and squeeze your legs and then they'd let go. And then they'd fill up with air and squeeze your legs and then let go. And it actually felt really good.
Was this because you were really swollen? Like what was the point of this?
Yes. It was for the swelling. It was for the post-op swelling. And so all night I had that on. And yeah, I think they stopped it in the morning, but for a good like 12 hours.
Where is the fluid supposed to go?
I don't know.
Okay.
I mean, I had a catheter in, so like,
okay.
I don't know, but
you're just sweating it out.
Yeah, I don't know. It was an interesting experience. Oh yes. Okay. So side note again, I hadn't eaten for 40 hours, right?
Oh my God.
I was starving. So I got back to the room. We had our snack bag there, and I grabbed a tube of mini M&Ms, and I like chugged it. I chugged the whole tube, and then the nurse comes in, and I'm like, "Can we get some real food?" And she's like, "Oh, you're actually not allowed to eat."
I'm like, "Nope, that's actually incorrect."
And I'm like, then I just like hide the tube of M&Ms behind my pillow, and I was like, "Oh, yeah, okay, sure."
Wow. So how long were you in the hospital for?
36 hours also. It's like for the postpartum. Yeah. Usually C-sections, they keep you to 2 days, but because of the timing of ours, like they just let us go home the next evening at 36-hour mark.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was it. Thank you, listeners, for listening to my super long journey.
No, what a journey you had. My goodness.
Yeah, it was something. All right.
And so how long after did your back ever get back to normal with the herniated disc?
Yes. After giving birth, almost instantly, everything went back in place. So I really think it was a positional thing. I think as of early on, she was in a position where like her spine was against my spine, and it must have been just a certain, maybe the shoulders or some, I have no idea how this stuff works, but yeah, it was, I was just all out of place. And then after she was out, I, by the 6 weeks, my back was back to normal.
Amazing.
6 weeks after.
Yeah. Well, what a journey, listeners. I'm
Yeah.
glad we did your second, because yours had a little bit more flair to it, I feel.
Yeah, but no, yours was really good too. You had a lot of funny anecdotes. You like really kept us on our toes with some things. Yeah, they were very different, but both
very different. Both C-sections, both big babies, but very, very different stories. And that just goes to show you, listeners, there's no two exact same pregnancies.
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for sharing that. How does it feel to talk about that?
Yeah, no, it's great. Actually, I had a bit of a hard time afterwards. I definitely grieved the birth. There was some feelings that I had. But now I'm in a place where, it's unique to her story, and yeah, I'm in a good spot. It's okay to talk about it now. But listeners, let us know if you enjoyed hearing our birth stories, because we are brainstorming of what we are going to do for some upcoming segments. And if you like hearing birth stories, maybe we can have some guests share their birth stories.
It is true, listeners. And in fact, if you are a listener within either geographic proximity to us or an ability to record audio on your end, it could be you sharing your birth story.
It could be you.
It could be you. All right, listeners, thank you so much for joining us on this journey. Please wish Laura, her family, her daughter, all the best wishes forever and ever. And thank you so much for joining us. We hope to see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for listening. Bye, everyone.